Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. It is 10 o'clock, so let's get started. We'll call the meeting to order. So first thing on the agenda is the roll call. So, Tanya, could you take us to the roll call, please?
Sure. Jordan Basham,
Present.
David Brinkley, Brian Campbell,
Present.
Rachel Cato.
Good morning, I'm here.
Okay, good morning. Jordan Cole,
Present.
Emily, she'll be out. Anthony Gilbert,
Present.
Monica Hines,
Present.
Julia Johnson, Steve Lancaster,
Present.
Mike Loftus,
Present.
Lauren Ostello, Jared Smith,
Present.
Rhonda Sullivan,
Present.
Doug Tate,
Present.
Robert Unseld,
Present.
Tanya Vincent, present, and Jennifer Wilson.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay. So it looks like, if I calculated right, we should have quorum. Tanya and Doug, did everybody agree with that?
Yes, quorum is currently calculated at 11 members, and so we are over quorum.
All right. Okay, so first thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. So has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? And no, Julia's not here today, but she put the minutes together for us, stepped in for Tanya while she was out last week, and I appreciate that. So does anybody have any modifications to the minutes, or all right, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
A motion to approve.
Second, Monica.
All right. So all those in favor of approving the March meeting minutes, say aye.
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 Those opposed, likewise. Okay, all right, the minutes have passed. Okay, our next item of the agenda is our officer report. And start off with the chair report. First of all, I'm not sure if I see David on here yet. I just want to congratulate Staff Regent David Brinkley on his re-election for another 3-year term to serve as our Staff Regent, and we look forward to working with him with another term. And also want to give congratulations to the Staff Excellence Award winners. We had 8 of them this year. There's 7 awards, and Staff Senate worked with administration. We had 3 awards every year for Staff Excellence, and this year we have 7. One category, the committee was not able to determine just one individual. There were 2 individuals that got the Customer Service Award, and those were David Oliver from Environmental Health and Sharon Hunter from Housing Resident Life. And both of those have worked incredibly hard due to the pandemic. So the Teamwork Award went to Amber Boards of Engineering and Applied Sciences. Julia Jones from Social Work, she received the Student Support Award. The Inclusion Award was Peggy Crow from the Counseling Center. The Unsung Hero Award went to Tammy Younglove of Infrastructure and Ops in the ABS Group. And the Part-Time Award went to Elizabeth Fogel in Engineering and Applied Sciences. And our WKU Affiliate Award went to Paxi Perkins of Sodexo. So I congratulate all those winners, and they were also, all the award winners received a $1,000 cash award and a plaque for their accomplishment. reports and okay. So far as other
Hey,
things,
Oh,
go
real
ahead,
quick,
Tanya.
will there be a ceremony for these? Did you guys decide on something, or how will these be presented? Are they already been presented?
I think they're wanting to try to do something. Tanya, I'm not exactly clear on the details. I know they typically do every year. Last year they did have something, so I'm assuming that there will be another award ceremony, and I should know that, but I don't have the details on that yet. As far as I've been in several BEC meetings, and the BEC is working hard on developing a budget for next year. And I guess that's all that I have for the chair report. So I will go to the vice chair, go to Monica. Monica, do you have a report?
No report this month. Thank you.
Tanya, do you have a secretary report?
No updates.
Okay. Emily England is out, and Brian Campbell is going to be filling in for the treasurer report. So Brian, if you could give us a report.
Sure. So our E&G index starting balance was $3,668, and there were no additions or disbursements. Emily did want to note that $83.84 will come out for Staff Star Award picture frames, and that'll post next month. But no actual change this month. Our WKU Foundation account has been established, but does not currently have a balance. Our College Heights Foundation account for the book scholarships, that balance is $1,386.40, and there were no additions or disbursements. And later in the meeting today, we'll have a bylaws and policy proposal come up, but Emily did want to pass along thanks to Jordan Basham, Robert Unsell, Jared Smith, and Mike Loftus for their help on creating the Staff Senate funds policy, and a special thanks to Doug Tate with crafting the bylaw amendment proposal. And she did not have a report for the Budget and Finance Committee.
All right. Let's see. Jennifer, do you have a communications report?
I really don't have a major report, but I did want to comment. We had a friendly email that suggested we update the minutes on our website. So we are trying to make sure we keep our minutes on the website updated. However, please note that it'll always be a month behind because we need to approve the minutes before we get them on the website. But just wanted to share that.
Yes, and I want to thank that individual for pointing that out, because that's something we should have had on there. But it looks like starting with the pandemic, we failed to keep posting those, and I apologize. And we've got that on there now, and I appreciate the help of this group getting that published on there for us. But if there's anything that staff members see that they would like for us to do, or something we're not doing that we should be, please let us know. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's see. And Anthony, technology report.
Yes, I have a little bit to report on the staff's Senate election. We've set some preliminary dates for those. First date will be April 28th. There'll be an email going out seeking nominations. The deadline for nominations will be May 7th. And then right now, the tentative date for the election, we don't have the 100% approval on that yet, but the tentative election date will be May the 19th. That's all that I have to report.
Doug, do you have a parliamentarian report?
Just a quick note, since we will be voting on some bylaw changes today, if any of the Senate members need to leave the meeting, please just shoot me a direct message in the chat so I can catch that, so I can recalculate quorum, because it is quorum as of the time we vote. And then in a similar vein to Jennifer, I'll be working with Tanya to get the Constitution updated pending today's changes and uploaded to the website.
Yep. Thank you, Doug. And is that all the staff Senate officers? If I left anybody out? Okay. As David's with us now, again, David, I said earlier, just congratulate you for your re-election, and look forward to keep working with you as staff, as our staff regent.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, David, if you got your Regent report.
Yes. Yesterday, we had the majority of the finance. By the way, thank you all very much for the election and the process with everything. I really appreciate everybody that worked on the forum and all of the assistance with that. I thought it went really well. I'm like some of you, I wish we wouldn't have had to have had it, but I understand the process and I'm perfectly fine with that and was perfectly fine to go through all of that, and we'll do good things together. We will. Yesterday, the Finance and Budget Committee met with, well, the majority of it met with Susan and Rebecca related to the action items and the third quarter actuals for the university. I think that, and I had Shane, faculty regent Spiller in my office with me during that call, and we were satisfied that there's been a change in the reporting. There's new software, Axiom software that the Susan's group is using that I think is going to give a lot more granularity when needed for deans and department heads and upper administration people in the university in terms of how we can look at financial statements and where we kind of sit. I'm very pleased with what I saw yesterday in terms of reporting capability. I think that it's got enormous potential. I know that Rebecca Russell's excited about it. And I was thinking about Emily, who is not on this call, but she would love it based on the stuff that I saw. And she's I don't want to say a numbers nerd, but she's a numbers nerd like that. If you all have any, we have a committee. So we have the committee meetings this week. If you all have any questions or concerns about any of the action items, I'm on, just so you know, remind you all, I'm on academic affairs and finance and budget. So I will vote on action items related to those two committees. I'm still going through the academic affairs action items. Some of them are simple. There's a couple that have a little bit more complexity to them. And then on finance and budget, there's some level of question that I'm trying not to be too specific. I have a concern. I want to make sure that it's out there, that I feel like there needs to be some cost of living adjustment in the coming fiscal year. I have been assured that every option is on the table. So we're just going to see if we can follow that through. That is not an action item in this meeting and would not be, because that's related to budget approval. But if you all have any concerns or questions, as always, you can ask me now or you can ask me privately. And if you noticed in the emails that I sent out during the election cycle, I have established a Gmail address that you all can send stuff to from a private account if you want to address me anonymously. And also remember, and I sent this out related to the sorry, y'all, I'm being distracted by texts and everything else. And believe it or not, it's related to Deborah Wilkins. Probably shouldn't have said that out loud. Related to the Staff Senate anonymous email. I tried to promote that as part of what the information that I sent out was related to shared governance. I know that those of you all that were on the call during the forum, there was a specific comment related to shared governance that was sent via email. I understand there's some frustration, but my point related to that, and I will say that to everybody here and anybody that'll listen, is if you don't think it's working, help make it work. I mean, you force these things. If you want to work through the channel, Staff Senate's the channel. If you want to work on shared governance, be a part of the committee, be a part of the Staff Senate, but don't complain about something if you're not contributing to it. Now, nobody on this call is who I'm talking to. I want to stress that because everybody here is part of the solution. When I see comments that come in like that, like, oh, it's just not working or it's not going to work, it's really our responsibility to force it to work. So we have to keep pushing that and encouraging that, regardless of how frustrating it might be. So if y'all have any questions, that's about it. Please go through the board agenda. And if you have anything related to it, Shane and I are working together on some items. I think the faculty regent is very in tune with what the needs of the campus are. And yesterday I had a good conversation with him, and he is also worried about staff salary compression. So I want to stress that that we had a good conversation related to that. Thanks.
All right, thank you, David. Something is not on the agenda, just some I feel like some good news, and I asked Susan if she could speak on it just real briefly. Is some reports that we received from the S&P. Susan, if you could just give us an update what you've learned from the S&P.
Sure. So every year annually, we are reviewed by two credit agencies, that's Moody's and Standard & Poor's. And those are really tough phone calls. They typically will call you, and calls usually last 2 to 3 hours. They really scrub the financials and go through everything from governance to organizations and all things financial. And you just never know what to expect when you come out of these. You can S&P, as far as an organization, is a bit easier to work with. Most of that just comes down to what analyst is assigned to higher education. So I have a good working relationship with S&P and Moody's, but S&P is just a little, let's say, nicer to deal with, for the lack of a better term. So, so there's always a bit of angst going into it. And even though the analysts can be fully supportive of the institution and what we've done, it's out of their hands once it goes into committee. And then the committee will look at all the financial data and all the questions that they've asked, and they make a decision on basically your rating, your credit rating. And so I felt really good about the call. And then usually, like I said, from the call, it usually takes a couple of weeks for the analysts to do their work, and then for it to go into committee. And so the good news for us is that they, remember, we just went through a pandemic year. So most institutions have not been this fortunate. So we were able to, they reaffirmed our current credit rating. So no change in that, which is excellent news. And even better than that, they changed our outlook from negative to stable. And that has not happened for many institutions across the country because of enrollment declines and just bad financial news through the pandemic. So excellent news for our campus. Basically, a stable outlook means that they do not foresee any changes in our financial situation that would warrant a downgrade in our credit rating for the next couple of years. So again, that's excellent news. They were very, very impressed with our financial progress and our improvements in operating margin and our overall enrollment. So as I told when I was talking maybe to the BEC, Mike, I said, this is really the work of the whole campus. And I knew going into this year, it was going to be a tough budget year. A lot of people didn't think we could do it, but I knew we would. I knew we would pull together as a community and do good things. And that was reaffirmed by S&P. So I just think that's great news for campus.
Thank you, Susan, for sharing that information with us. All right. So next on our agenda, we have Bruce Schulte is going to be presenting policy he's been working on for intellectual policy. So Bruce, you can go ahead. I don't know if you need to share your screen. I think you should have rights if you need to.
Okay, I will, Mike. Thank you. I'm ready to see. I can jump back up to the top, but this is the basic policy. It should have been distributed. It's certainly available for everyone to look at that has any questions. And I just wanted to thank everybody today for taking the time to allow me to present this. I was going to just point out on the on the weather side, I have a brother that lives in Belgium and they've received snow for the last 2 days. So we should be very thankful that spring has come. Bowling Green. But anyways, back to the policy. This is the policy that controls how intellectual property is handled at the university. It, as you can see here, it was out of date. They're reviewed about every 5 years, policy based upon our policy on policies. That process actually began on time, but there's been a number of changes in personnel at the university that led to some delays in this, but all input that was started back then was incorporated where relevant into this document. I'm not going to go through the whole document, but I am going to slide down to the bottom and just summarize what the major points are that have changed in the document. This has been looked at by Laura Hagan, legal counsel and chair of the WKU Research Foundation. It's been looked at by provost, by the associate provost, Dr. Kadali. Susan's had a look at it, but it'll still go back through them after it goes through committee reviews. And so the SEC saw it the other day, and the Council on Deans will see it this afternoon. So the big things is that this is going to be co-authorized by both the EVP and the provost rather than just the provost, because what has happened in the last couple of years is with the hiring of Dr. Kadali, the Office of Research no longer has direct responsibility for intellectual property. And instead, that's come under my purview as Associate Vice President and Executive Director of the Research Foundation. So we had to change a bunch of wording in the document to meet that change in assignment. Dr. Kadali's title has also changed from what it was for Cheryl Davis. So a lot of just nomenclature throughout the document to get that in line. Number 3 here, the IP committee was a committee that is formed to evaluate IP. This is now going to formally become a subcommittee of the Research Foundation Board. And the board of directors is made up of both internal Western employees and external community members. The bylaws dictate that the chair of the board is an external member, and that people like myself and the president and the EVP and the provost and the associate provost are non-voting members. The 4th change here is that the ramp model eliminates what has been known as a general fund category. So when IP disbursements occur, they're dispersed to the PI or the inventor, the innovator, and then to other units as dictated in the policy. One of those historically was the general fund. We don't have such under the ramp model. So that percentage has been redistributed to other entities within the policy. It has not changed the 40% that goes to the innovator. So there's no alteration there with the person who actually started the IP. So the reason, again, for number 5, the reason it's retroactive is because we don't have a general fund to distribute to. So that's a slight change there. And again, revisions that were started in 2018-19 have been incorporated where appropriate and modified due to title changes and things like that. I want to point this out to Staff Senate because staff are innovators. Staff have the ability to create innovation, to send it through the process of commercialization, and that does happen. And so staff should be aware that if you have an idea, please get in touch with me and we can begin discussing it. There are a number of state and national avenues for information to improve your knowledge of that process. And we have a team to help us with commercialization. So again, for staff, if you have an idea that you think might be commercializable, please get in touch with me, and this policy would be relevant to that. I'm happy to take any questions, and I again appreciate your time.
Okay. Go ahead. Somebody have a question?
I do. Hey, Bruce, good morning to you. I had a question on the work for hire designation for staff. I know as staff members, we have, of course, our work that falls within our job description. And I'm curious if there are innovations that are within the same field, but not a direct duty is that something that we would pursue as commercialization, or does this policy consider that work for hire?
It's going to really depend, Robert. It's a great question. It's something that we would have to evaluate. If you, for instance, were working for another entity outside your job that might involve IP being created by that entity and you're working for them, that's different than if you have created something yourself and you're looking to modify that. But in the former, we would want an agreement, like as you're talking about, but the IP policy wouldn't directly pertain to that because the IP wasn't invented by you. If it's your IP, if it's your intellectual property, then our policy would take place. And commercialization can occur a lot of ways. We can create a company, we can license to an existing company. So there's multiple avenues for the way that idea could get out there.
Well, and I guess let me clarify. If someone was to develop an app to go alongside a job duty, would that fall under work for hire, or would we consider that intellectual property? I guess that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, so something like that would be considered, well, we would again have to evaluate it, but it sounds from what your description is that it would be IP. Now, if you took an app that was actually out there and said, hey, we can use this app for our business, even though it wasn't initially created for it, it probably wouldn't be IP because you're adapting. It's like taking a shovel and using it as a hammer. Well, it wasn't meant for that, but if you want to use it that way, you can, So we would have to evaluate it. But yes, it's something we could do. We could evaluate.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. That was a great question. Just like, I just let everybody know that Bruce Dr. Schulte sent me that this policy, and I emailed it to everybody, and the staff sent it, so everybody's had a chance to review. So does anybody else have any other questions that they would have for Dr. Schulte? But thank you for bringing this to staff Senate to let us to have discussion and you presenting that policy to us. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Mike, and thanks everybody, and thanks for all you do. Stay healthy.
You too. Okay, next on our agenda is the WKU Foundation Ad Hoc Committee's recommendation. Emily is out, and Jordan has agreed in Emily's stead. She's chairing the committee to present the recommendation for amending the bylaws. And we do have quorum, and that all of that information has been sent to everybody on staff Senate for making the adjustments to the bylaws. So Jordan, you want to go ahead and present those changes?
If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer those. Our committee worked through this through a couple meetings. I think as we've discussed previously, the foundation account has been established. That process we were worried was going to take a long time, but it was actually pretty quick, so that was great. And we've set up a recommendation for policy on how to manage that. If it's helpful for me to read through it, I'm happy to do that, but I'll kind of just start out by kind of describing how it's going to work, how we're recommending it works. A very simple bylaw change that would update the duties of the treasurer, and then a policy that is referenced by the bylaws that would set forth how we deal with all of our accounts. The book scholarship account, this new WKU Foundation account, and then our E&G fund account. All those will be combined into this single policy. That's really kind of the short version of it.
Okay, I'm going to pull up the proposal that Doug wrote. Doug did a great job of writing the proposed change up. So basically, what he has highlighted in yellow is going to be the final changes that's going to be made to Section 3 of our bylaws. So Doug Or
Yeah,
I guess what is it? Go ahead, Doug.
I was gonna say, I can run through it real quick. Basically all this does, all the changes do is it, originally the bylaws only referenced the ENG account. So this references both foundation accounts as well. It also requires the treasurer to report on every account at every staff senate meeting and to reference the staff senate funds that or staff senate funds policy that Jordan mentioned.
Does anybody have any questions for the policy update recommendation? Any concerns?
Oh, Mike, I had a quick question. So the CHF or the foundation account, that is something that, like, if someone wanted to donate to that, or if we, like, when we had the
Day giving.
lunch, we had like specific ones that were for book scholarship. We could also establish that this is for employees or for professional development or to have that money. So the foundation, we just have a lot more.
Yes, the foundation count has been set up. And just give a little brief description. Besides these changes, the foundation count is in the process of being set up, and President Camoni amended tribute met, and they have graciously, they're going to be giving us, I believe, $1,000 in seed money to get this account started. And this will give us a little more flexibility on how we can use this money to benefit staff, whether it's paying for a plaque or for paying for some kind of award type scenario, or to help create some kind of like training opportunity for staff. We just we're not limited as much as we would be with funds that are in ENG. So that was the big purpose of creating this account. Once we created this account, we needed to make adjustments to the bylaws to give some guidance on how this is going to be managed. So that was the whole purpose. But yes, this account can be like the day of caring is coming up. The staff, if they choose, could donate to this if they want to give back to staff and help promote staff, or businesses or any donors. The university will now, WKU Staff Excellence Foundation account will now show up to them for giving. Does that answer your question, Tanya?
Yes, yeah, for sure.
I probably should have gave a little more information on that.
That's what I figured, but I mean, I did to what we could do, but like you said, being able to provide frames for the Staff Star Award, or being able to do, professional development and or, just even awards is great for the staff.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
I just want to thank the committee. This looks great. We really appreciate the updates.
They did a great job of putting the proposal together, and I like what come out of the committee. And the foundation accounts, Rebecca Russell has graciously agreed to be the admin for that account for us. That way, because staff senate officers and members change on a yearly basis, it'd be just be easier to manage if we had one name on there that's going to be constant. And with her role, it fit in really well. So appreciate her also agreeing to do that. So with this,
Mike, will she be the admin for all three accounts?
No. No.
Sorry, Jordan, would you say?
No, she won't be. If you look at the policy, or the recommendation, the role for administrator is for the two foundation accounts, but she would be the financial manager for the ENG account, which is currently already her role. So that's not a change.
Yep. Yep. Any other questions? Okay, so this is a change to the bylaws. So according to our bylaws, correct me if I'm wrong, Doug, we have to have quorum, and we have to have 2/3 vote of quorum. Is that correct, Doug? That's the way
we need 2/3 of the current representatives present to meet quorum, and then to make the bylaw change, we would need 2/3 of those present to
Present.
vote in favor.
All right, so can I get a motion to approve the WKU Foundation Ad Hoc Committee's recommendation for amending the bylaws?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, so Anthony made the
Second.
motion. Who made the second?
Brian.
Brian. Okay, Brian made the second. Okay, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Those opposed likewise. All right, motion has approved and the bylaws will be changed. Okay. Next on the agenda is the DOT drug and alcohol policy revision, or version, policy version 3. And Brandon Higgins is the one that has developed most of that policy, and he's also worked alongside with Tony Glisson. Unfortunately, neither of them were available to present this policy today, but the administration wanted this to be brought forward to Staff Senate for discussion to see if there's any issues. This policy has been sent to everybody in Staff Senate for y'all to look at, and basically the reason for this policy is so the university gets in compliance with Department of Transportation guidelines. And I know Susan is here, so Susan, if I say anything wrong, please help me out. She's familiar with what this policy is trying to accomplish. So it looks like this will mainly affect parking and transportation employees, basically people that will be driving our students around campus. And I think it's around like 20 employees approximately this would affect, as far as being able to have like substance. There's testing, like for, I'm trying to find it in the policy. Okay, yeah, there's pre-employment testing, and there's reasonable suspicion testing, or a post-accident testing, and random testing. So if everyone's had the chance, I hope everyone's had a chance to review this policy. So does anybody have any questions about this policy or concerns that we need to bring up?
I didn't get a chance to look at this until this morning, but I think the only question I really had, university has an existing policy, I guess, about substance abuse. So I'm a little curious, like some of that includes Department of Defense compliance and things like that. So I was just kind of curious why this didn't get tied into that policy.
Susan, would you have an answer to that? I don't know if it's more set for the Department of Transportation guidelines or.
Yeah, this is pretty much for the Department of Transportation, specifically their guidelines. We had been using basically an internal manual since, I think, Jordan, since 2004. I mean, I can certainly check in to see if we can't tie the two policies together, but it was, from what I was told, this was strictly compliance with the Department of Transportation.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thanks for your question, Jordan. Thanks for the help, Susan. Anybody else have any concerns over this? Okay. All right. Well, okay, next on our agenda is the Staff Star Award. Jennifer?
Yeah, we're going to start off by, first of all, last time I forgot to thank a very important group. Barnes & Noble has been very generous with donating some WKU swag for our award recipients. So I wanted to make sure to give them a special shout out for helping us with that. And for those of you that might be turning in that are new to the Staff Senate, the Staff Star, the Christopher Ware Staff Star Award was created to help spotlight staff that may be unsung heroes across campus, just on a monthly basis. A lot of people have come, they have put in recommendations for staff across campus in various departments. So we're trying to keep consistent with doing 3 a month. So I'm going to start with Jared Smith. Senator Smith is going to talk about our first recipient.
Yes, our first Staff Star Award goes to Jessica Steenbergen. Jessica works in the office of the provost as the scheduling applications coordinator. And Jessica's been a superstar throughout the COVID crisis. Because of the pandemic, we've had to pivot multiple times as an institution. And one of the most challenging parts to manage has been space because of the need to decrease room capacities and to promote social distancing. Jessica's been a champion of keeping our environment safe, but at the same time being practical to help find space for classes to meet. She's been a very effective collaborator with many constituencies that she serves. All of these room changes came on top of adjustments to the process due to the ramp funding. And I'm also not sure that everyone knows this is not the only aspect of her job. She also assists folks in academic affairs, manages all the web pages for the provost office, answers phones, answers questions, and so much more. She does all of this without complaining and is always positive and upbeat. She's a rock star for sure. WKU is very fortunate to have her as an effective, hardworking, and caring staff member. And Jennifer let me know that we could add some of our own positive comments to these already submitted by the nominators. I could add on and on to what they've said here, but I'll just put it simply this way. In a campus full of fantastic staff, there is no one that I admire more for what they mean to this campus. And on a daily basis, I do my best to model both my work ethic here and front desk personality after Jessica's. So on behalf of the Staff Senate, we thank you, Jessica, for all you do, and we'll be getting your certificate and WKU swag to you soon.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. I was taken back by this nomination. I had no idea this was even coming. So it's a happy. So thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Jessica, for being here today. Our next staff star, unfortunately, she had a family emergency, but we told her we still want to honor her. And Steve Lancaster, if you could share a little bit about Lisa.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Lisa Shipley is the second recipient this month. She works in information technology services as the applications and programming group manager. So Lisa is in charge of programming to support human resources, payroll, benefits, and the budget, just to name a few areas. Lisa has worked tirelessly for over a year by herself, making it all work. With a recent retirement in her area, she is filling the role of 2 people during a very stressful time and has been involved with major changes to processes within her area. She has tackled all the salary reductions, the reinstatement of salaries, and the back pay since July. Working many times over the break, she prepares for W-2 processing and tax modifications that come out in December to be applied in January. These are only a few examples of her contributions to WKU, but many, many more exist. Even though she is extremely busy in her job, she always has a smile on her face and a kind word to say. Many times the behind the scenes work goes unnoticed, but that is what it takes to make the university tick and run smoothly. So Lisa is very deserving of a Staff Star Award. I work down the hallway from her, and although we don't work directly together, she is always so pleasant and so nice to talk to, and definitely is deserving. So on behalf of the Staff Senate, we thank you, Lisa, for all you do, and you'll get your certificate and your WKU swag coming over to you soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. And our third Staff Star, Christopher Ware Staff Star Award, will be recognized with Senator Vincent.
Becky Sims is our next award winner. Becky is the office coordinator for campus recreation and wellness. Becky Sims consistently makes everyone feel welcome and at ease, whether it be the visiting students to the Preston Center, student workers in her department, faculty and staff, and patrons participating in her department's activities. She's a great celebrator, making people feel special by remembering birthdays, big days, or life events, and making a big fuss over them, often preparing homemade treats. Becky goes beyond her job duties to provide service, having met patrons on nights or weekends to help them with a membership if they could not make it to the office during normal business hours. She openly cares about those she knows and is equally as warm towards those she's meeting for the first time. Becky truly embodies the spirit that makes WKU such a wonderful place to work, live, and learn. I don't work with Becky a lot, but the times that I have, she's always been so helpful and she always seems to be positive. So I appreciate, having that asset, and, she definitely deserves this award. On behalf of the Staff Senate, we thank you, Becky, for all you do, and we'll get your certificate and WKU swag to you soon. Thanks.
Like Jessica, I'm deeply surprised and humbled by this award. There's so many great people at Western. I'm just very touched. So thank you very much.
Thanks for coming, Becky. Back to you, Mike.
All right, congratulations to our Staff Star winners. All three are very worthy of this award. And I'm going to again thank Jennifer's committee for putting this together, because I think it's a great way for us to recognize staff on campus. Okay, well, that is all on our agenda. Our next meeting will be on May the 5th. And as we mentioned earlier, we'll be having an election very soon in May. And just want to just encourage anyone that would like to help serve on Staff Senate. To help staff. It's a great opportunity for everyone to be involved, and you can definitely make a difference here on campus with your time if you would like to. So I'd like to encourage anyone that's interested to please consider running for Staff Senate.
Hey.
All right, well, I don't have anything else. Is there any other business that need to be?
I was going to say, if anyone has questions about the Staff Senate, or if anyone has, ideas, definitely reach out. And if you don't feel like sending an anonymous email, you can send it to the staff members just to kind of get an idea of what we're doing and what is going on. This past year definitely has been different. I mean, we made it work, and we've, the Zoom meetings, but if you're kind of on the fence about running for Staff Senate, reach out to one of our senators and ask questions. I mean, we're always willing to talk about it and learn, let people know more about this, what we do.
Yeah, thank you, Tanya. All right. Well, looks like
are we doing a Staff Senate Executive Committee on the 28th?
Yeah, I have not scheduled that yet.
Okay.
But that sounds about right, Jordan.
Right.
Yes, David.
Mike, real quick, I just want to clarify something for the recording. When I mentioned earlier that members of the Finance and Budget Committee met with Susan yesterday, I want to make sure that everybody understands that we did not meet to take any action. The entire committee was not present. There were only 3 regions present for that meeting. And also Shane was listening to that meeting in my office, but was not a participant, and no action was taken. So if there are any questions related to that, I just want that to be abundantly clear for the recording. We don't get together when there's a quorum like that. And Shane was an observer only. He wanted to listen. And so he showed up in my office and I let him listen. That's it. Thanks.
All right. Well, I hope everyone enjoys the rest of our week, and I appreciate everything that everybody on Staff Senate does. All right. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.